It's always important that you determine what your personal values are. What are those things that you will die defending? What are the things that no matter what you're offered, you will never do? At the end of the day, it's really about who you are defined to be by the way you have lived and the way you're living. What your values say about you. What you will do when there's nobody there. Because when it matters the most, that is what will save you. This evening, when my brother and my friend, Leo Stan Eke, called me and we had the conversation to be part of this evening, he didn't fully disclose the extent of what the evening is really like. But I want to celebrate him and his amazing, beautiful wife, who is his secret weapon, Chioma Eke. He told me once, I don't know if he tells you, but one time we had a conversation and he said, she's my secret weapon. She makes me more money than anybody else can imagine. There are few men who have the courage to openly declare that their wife is their biggest asset, but yours does. So for that, we celebrate you and we celebrate him for being the man that he is. I also celebrate your children. I think you are exceptionally blessed. You have raised them well, and you're reaping the reward of investing in those children. And I'm partial about girls, so I'm especially proud of the girls and the amazing things that they're doing. I'm a mother of only boys, so let the boys not be worried. I'm very proud of what you do as well. I just want to celebrate the girls for knowing that it's important to be part of building a legacy. Not just consuming the legacy, but being a great part of building it. And if you know my brother, the chairman of this whole venture, you know that he's a man of vision, driven by his vision, but also thorough, committed, and diligent at doing what he does. So I hail you and your entire family for that which you've done with the entire business group that is called by your name. But I'll just share a few things. There's a whole beautiful new world emerging that technology and the digital space has offered you. It's afforded us the opportunity to scale beyond our imagination. It's allowed us to partake in global economies that we ordinarily might not have been allowed to fully participate in. It's allowed us to use the digital economy to take advantage of the population that we have. We have the numbers, but they will just remain numbers except we find the right format to deliver value to them and take value from them. And I believe that's what the whole TD Africa and all partners are using technology to deliver value, but also to take value. Now, I'll tell you one thing. No matter how good you are at what you do, no matter how well you can deliver value, no matter what opportunities are on the table for you to take, there's something forever and will be forever that can be the game changer. Because even the best people in the world can be buried by something so simple, has always been true, but the world we live in today generally tends to encourage us to ignore it. And those are your values. The values with which you live, the values with which you do your business, the values with which you rule your life. And you know, values consist of so many things, from your integrity, to your professionalism, to your character, to your truthfulness, to your sense of responsibility, to your being trustworthy, to being reliable, to being productive. Many, many components of what can be described as your values. The question is, what are yours? There are general values on the table, but it's always important that you determine what your personal values are. What are those things that you will die defending? What are the things that no matter what you're offered, you will never do? What are the things that control your every day? What is the kind of thing that, based on the discipline of the values you have chosen for you, will keep you safe on the worst days? What are those things that no matter who is standing in front of you and what they're trying to make you do, no matter what they're offering you, the lines you will never cross? In my 36 years as an entrepreneur, and having sat in many different places, both locally and internationally, as I continue to sit and work across the world, what I realize at the end of the day, there's a common factor that follows you everywhere. At the end of the day, it's really about who you are defined to be by the way you have lived and the way you're living. What your values say about you, what you will do when there's nobody there. Because when it matters the most, that is what will save you. I have found myself in some tight corners, having fought some battles, knowing fully well there was no option but to fight for the right things. Knowing fully well I'll get punished for doing that. Knowing that it was the hard choice, and to many it wouldn't make sense. But I've also learned over time that it was the best thing to ever do. Because at the end of the day, it's not always about the moment. It's always about the long play. When you play long, you play right. When you play right, you play the value game. Why? Your values will speak long after you've gone from a space. And in the best of times, only your values will save you and will speak for you. I could give you 1,000 examples, but it's not the right moment, because this is not a classroom or a place to put the details on the table for you. But whatever you do, without taking too much of your time, I want you to remember that when it matters, it will speak. So sit down before you get to the crossroad. And what are the most difficult crossroads? The crossroads of money and of power. Before you get to the crossroads, when it's difficult to make a choice, sit down with yourself and determine what your choices are. Decide what you will never do. When I was starting my first business before my 26th birthday, I gave myself 2 principles that will guide my business journey. One was I was never going to sleep with a man to get a job. 2, I was never going to pay a bribe to get a contract. Those 2 things seemed like I was set up to fail, and I was just an idealistic young woman and would not be going too far. But those 2 guiding principles and the many things that became layered on it became the light that walked me through every difficult situation. Even when you remember our first bank saga, at the end of the day, it was a battle of values. And at the end of the day, we were glad to die fighting for the right thing. And you know, I come from the southwestern part of Nigeria, and Yoruba people say that a lie can travel for 20 years, but by the 21st year, the truth will overtake it. It didn't take 21 years for the truth to come out. At the end of the day, the truth started revealing itself and unfolding. And I can tell you, there were many things on the table in my life at that point. I was being processed to serve on 2 critical boards internationally. And that whole drama became a major part of the consideration. Painful, but guess what? I would take the pain over and over again, because at the end of the day, when you do the right things, even when you peel the onions back 1,000 times, it will end up being right. Sometimes it might seem like it's not, but when the chips are down, the truth will reveal itself. I ended up with many more pluses than any negative, because when the chips were down and all the work was done, I not only served on those boards, those same people came back and offered me much many more places based on the work. My youngest son, who was 19 then, had said something to me. One of those days was a very painful day. I just had a meeting, and he walked to me and said, "Mommy, what's wrong?" And I said, I lived my life every day, never to have to apologize to anybody or answer the kind of questions I just answered in this meeting I just had. And he said to me, "Mommy, don't worry. These people think they know you now. By the time they're done with the 3 months due diligence they told you they would do, they will really know you. And when they really know you, it will work for your good." I said to my son, "Really?" He said, "Yes." My son was a prophet on that day. At the end of the day, I've never regretted my choices. And I can tell you from my experience over time, the truth will always be the truth. Choose your values. Die fighting for them. Live for them. When your days are over, think about your last day. What would you like to count for your life? When you remember the things that will count, then you will make the right choices today. Because only those choices you make every day will add up to build the story that will be told about you at the end. Do you know what my biggest dream is in life? I want to die empty. Empty of any gift, talent, or ambition that I have, any capacity to deliver any value for my family, for my country, and for the world that I have not done. But I want to do it honorably, and at the end of the day, I want my children to remember, more than any houses, silver, or gold, who I was by the way I lived. I hope you will consider that a choice. Enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Bringing more contents from Conga TV.